who's going to give a keynote address for his expertise in penetration testing, threat assessment, and network defense. Let's commence this enlightening session, and it's a great honor to have you, Mr. Kalathil. Please, sir, the stage is all yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, I would like to welcome you all to the day 2 of this wonderful event. So today, we're going to be talking about transforming your cybersecurity posture of your organizations. So here we are going to talk about 3 main aspects. One is why, and one is how and when. So we all love cybersecurity, right? It's a hype word, right? So, but when it comes to cybersecurity, we love it to look it from far. So when it comes to our organization, we love tractions more. We love customer acquisitions more. Okay. So the moment you think about cybersecurity, the first thing what a startup, entrepreneur thinks is it's going to be so expensive. I'm not going to afford it. So let me think about it later. There's nothing like that when you plan something and when you have a roadmap. So the first thing is the need of cybersecurity in a business. So the first thing, as I told you, we love our customers, right? So when we love our customers, we should also love their customers' data. So in order to protect, there are few needs. There are, in some cases, it may be, the love to your product or the love to the customer data. In some cases, it will be in obligations. So the second need of cybersecurity is to meet the compliance. So there are various compliance. I will come to that later. Then we need to protect our reputation. So if something happens, or if there is a breach happening in our organization, it will lose our reputation. Our customer will lose the trust in us and doing business with us. And obviously, to avoid fines. And let me tell you one thing, the cost of cybersecurity is always less than the fines. So the fines are in millions. So the first step, what we need to do is to change our mindset. So we are, when we all think in a reactive way. So we have to change from the reactive mindset to a proactive mindset. So before a breach, what else we can do? What else practices we can, include in our organization? If you think in that way, if you plan, if you create a roadmap and then execute it according to the roadmap, it is easy to build a, budget-friendly cybersecurity practices in your organization, in every organization. So for that, first thing what we have to do is we have to develop a security culture inside the organization. Security culture in the sense, first thing is awareness. From the boardroom to the basement, from the directors to the janitor. Everybody should be aware of certain aspects, or whatever comes in terms with their job. They should be aware how to be, how to securely use that infrastructure or use that system. And second thing is we need to understand that firewalls doesn't always protect you. Once it breaks, we never know. So many of the firewalls is only the first line of defense. There are a lot of things behind it. So we need to think in an aspect of defense in depth. If something else fails, there is something else to block. So a defense in depth thought process and implementation of security in your organization is, it will harden your security. The security is there is nothing like what we believe is everything in this world is hackable. There's nothing called a secure environment. The only thing what we can do is we can harden the systems. We can make it, we can make it hard for them to get inside. So there are multiple layers of security for that. We need multiple layers of security. Then the third thing is understanding cybersecurity compliance. So I guess all of you know we have to follow a lot of compliance to do business in certain domains, to do business in certain regions. So let me come to that. So the first thing, there are few things that you need to do to bring a strategic transformation in your organization in terms of cybersecurity. So first thing is understanding compliance. So there are generic compliance, security compliances like ISO 27001. There are, if you want to do business in certain regions, you have certain compliance, like, if you want to do business in the European region, you have GDPR, yeah? Then you have CCPA, SOC 2 compliance. Then when you are trying to do business in certain domain, you need to follow certain compliances. So if you are handling, if you are a product owner which is handling patient data, you need to follow HIPAA. Or when it comes to Abu Dhabi, you have something called ADIX. So these are when you're into fintech industry, you have something called PCI DSS. So the compliance standards, we need to follow the obligations. Why do the government instruct to follow compliance? To safeguard the customer data, the customer we love, right? So in order to do that, as I told you, when we start a cybersecurity practice, I'm not talking about enterprises, they already have the practices in place. So when you start a cybersecurity practice, the first question is what to do, how to start. That is the first thing which comes into every startup founders. So let me tell you this. The first thing is you find a good guy to give you advices, to give you consulting, the experts in that field, and ask them to create a cybersecurity roadmap for you. The cybersecurity roadmap, in the sense, you have a high-level roadmap and you have a technical roadmap. Now you are a startup founder and now you are thinking about starting cybersecurity practices. When you create a roadmap, the first thing in your mind should be like, my organization should be ISO 27001 certified, probably next year in the 3rd quarter. You have to fix that. Then later, you should build a technical roadmap to implement or to satisfy that compliance. You can slowly bring in, you don't have to put all the controls in place in a single quarter. No. You can step by step, slow, when you go to gym, the first day you don't go and do all the exercises, right? It will hurt your body. You build it, first you build the small muscle, then you go for the bigger muscles. So you have, but that's possible only when you have a proper planning, a proper roadmap, and proper assistance. For the same way, the planning should be both high level, then the technical roadmap, and the financial roadmap. Cybersecurity, certain, when you start the practice, there's no way, or there is no need to invest a lot of money in that when you start. So you start slow, bring in cybersecurity, just reading about security compliances, which has to be followed, in the countries where you do business. That is also a cybersecurity investment, just reading that and gaining that knowledge. Probably in Calicut, we are, most of us will be, or probably 100% of the entrepreneurs will be doing business with Middle East countries, right? So what are the security compliances which we have to follow there? read about it, ask about it. When you have conversations with your friends, include security in that. These are all investment free of cost. It gains us knowledge. It gains a lot of, KT, knowledge transfer in us. We can speak to our consultants. We will have a clear picture that what to start, when to start, and how to start. So when you do all these things, reading about security compliances, bringing security into the conversations, there are a lot of activities, and having probably an awareness session inside your organization. So when you read, we gain knowledge, and you can take a session, awareness session. So these are all the things happening in security, cybersecurity. These are all small things that you can bring into your organization to have your employees aware of security, to make them responsible in terms of security. There are a lot of exercises. Later you can bring in, say for example, you have something called phishing simulations. You can conduct phishing simulations in your organization. It's fun. Just, we'll get to know, who clicks the malicious link, or who clicks that email, and who is the culprit. We get to know that. And we can train him. We can plan our training modules or security awareness modules based on that. So one fine day, it's a phishing exercise. The next day, probably red teaming exercises and all are, we can probably consider it when we go to the SMB sectors or an enterprise sector. So in an organization, we have, the entire organization runs on 3 pillars. One is people, another one is process, and third one is technology. And when we think about vulnerability, there is a term called vulnerability, right, in the heading. We are only thinking about in terms of technology. The vulnerabilities in the code, the vulnerabilities in the infra. But the vulnerabilities lies in all these 3 pillars. Vulnerabilities will be lying in the process. In a particular process or a lack of a process. Vulnerability lies in people. People can be hacked. People knowingly and unknowingly give away information, trying to help, right? So we need to understand what we need to educate our people, what to say and what not to say, and how much to say, how little to say. These are all the part of cyber awareness training. Now, you should do it. You should execute that in your organization. So you can talk. So, if you have any questions regarding how to bring in security into your organization or anything related to security, you may ask me. So because that's.
So, sir, I wanted to ask that there is this honeypot technique, right? Where we intentionally make the system vulnerable so that we can understand how they will attack the honeypot system. Where we make the system vulnerable. So, how efficient is it in using that?
Honeypots are usually kept to learn the attack patterns. So when you have, when your security team realize, your SOC team realize that there's an attack coming in, they redirect the traffic to the honeypot and see what, they are not stopping the attack. They are redirecting into a virtual honeypot. So that they learn, so that we can learn about how the nature of the attack, the mode of operations. So in earlier days, it's not one single hacker sitting underground and hacking things. It's an organized crime. Nowadays, now we have a lot of companies here, right? There are a lot of companies in Russia doing illegal services, just operating like an organization. People coming in the morning, sitting, going in the evening. It's like just operating like an organization. There are hacker organizations running in Russia, Chechnya, and everywhere. So we need to learn the patterns. We need to learn their mode of operations to counter it, or to build new tools or signatures to counter it. Now coming to your question, zero trust. So one concept in security is never trust anybody. Until and unless you prove that you are a genuine, it's a genuine traffic. Until and unless you prove that you are blocked. It's the whoever is sending the traffic. It's their responsibility to prove that it's a legitimate traffic. So the entire concept of zero trust is never trust anybody until and unless it's a valid communication or a valid traffic. That is the concept.
Briefly tell us your experience in Kozhikode. Your experience in Kozhikode, what you are talking now, just now. Educating your clients or whatever. Briefly you tell us.
My experience in Kozhikode. Okay. So I'm an entrepreneur from Calicut. We are a part of a small community called, not a small community, a bigger, larger community called CAFET. So we meet a lot of directors on a day-to-day basis. So again, a lot of them are security conscious. A lot of them know it has to come at one point of time. And and a lot of them think that probably we all think in terms of cost. So when we think in terms of cost, we hesitate. We don't. It's a lack or unawareness. So a lot of times I try to talk to them, and it's pretty much when you think in a different way, when you change the mindset, as I told you, from the reactive to proactive mindset, even free of cost cybersecurity investments can be done in an organization. The initial steps.
So, shall we wrap up the questions? Shall we take in one more question? That's it?
You're talking about costs, which is one of the major factors in any project implementation or company implementation, right? So what happens, what is your advice that you want to give to startups which are always cash strapped? And security, is one of the major things that needs to be done, and it can run wild. So how would you advise them to go forward with security?
Yeah. So that's what, as I earlier mentioned, you can create a roadmap. I need to know. When we are in school, we create a plan, right? I need to be an engineer. So when I'm done with my SSLC, I need to go to my the entrance coaching. This is a plan, right? So the first thing, you can create a high-level roadmap. You can talk to your friends in security. You don't have to go for a consultation. You can talk to friends with security. You have a lot of information online. You can learn what is there in this space, and then create a high-level roadmap. So on this particular year, or probably on this particular quarter, or when I want to move my business to this particular region, So you already know, you guys have financial compliances, like, you have your GST, your taxes. So when you do business in Saudi, you should be aware of the financial compliances which has to be followed in that particular region. In the same way, you should be aware of the security compliances which has to be followed in that particular regions. So when even if you are not aware, you can go and start, but we never know when it comes back to us. So you never know when the Saudi government will ask for certain documentations. One fine day they will ask you, okay, show me your IT security policy. Yeah. So building a small security ISMS policy is also a small thing which can be done in a very small investment. Providing an awareness training is also a small investment. What happens is, why we think about cost being too high is because we are trying to, we are thinking that we have to implement everything in the cyber security space, altogether tomorrow. That is where, you will not have an idea about the cost.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kalathil.